Hello Seoul Byters! So here we are with episode 6! Yay! So let's get started! In the last episode, the Islanders managed to keep all members in the island after winning the vocal and dance battle. If you missed last week's episode, be sure to check out our ILand episode 5 recap. See links down below. This episode kicked off with a summary of the ongoing global voting. Viewers from 171 regions participated and they revealed the top 5 most active countries, with Indonesia in the lead, followed by Japan, Philippines, the United States, and South Korea. Can you guess who topped the votes in each country? Sonu had the most votes in Mexico, Nikki in Japan, Daniel in the US, Sunghoon in China, Hanbin in Vietnam, Jake in Australia, Jay in Nepal, Hisong in India, and Kay in Greece. Sonu also managed to top the votes in South Korea and Jay in Indonesia. With these results, we are quite confident that these two boys are locked in for part 2. As the Islanders prepared for their upcoming test, the mentors came to check on the trainees' progress. They reminded the team that the success of the dance is quite dependent on the execution of important parts such as part 1, 2, and 5. In particular, they felt that Jungwon was struggling with part 5. Suddenly, everyone pushed for Jungwon to give up his part to Hisong, as they think Hisong will do a better job. Jungwon was upset, but eventually relented and switched parts to Hisong. Only Jay reached out to hold Jungwon's hands during this time, as he had gone through the same previously, and understands the pain to be switched out at the last minute. Frankly, we wish the Islanders could be a bit more genuine with their feedback to Jungwon. They all shared their thoughts about preferring to have Jungwon give up his part, and yet at the end, they just conveniently told Jungwon to make the most comfortable decision for himself. The same happened in the private talk between Kay, Jungwon, and Hisong. Seriously guys, how could anyone expect Jungwon to make any comfortable decision after saying all that to him? The boys continued with their practice as they had only 3 days to complete. Jay managed to break the intense atmosphere by announcing to everyone that the dome is haunted. He claimed to have seen unworldly things floating around the dance studio. Sunghoon and Jake took the chance to scare Jay repeatedly. It was so funny to see Jay, who often looks so macho, is actually running away from ghosts. Down at the ground, the trainees continued to practice for their test as well. Sonu was rather concerned with his position for this round, as it is really far off from the center. He decided to perfect his expressions in front of the camera, thinking that this could be his only chance to shine. He did it so many times that he started talking to the camera without realizing. Sonu probably didn't even realize that all those funny bits from him is propelling his popularity globally. Night arrives and everyone was fast asleep except for EJ. He recalls his journey as a trainee for the past 1 year. Everyone always told him that he improved, but it wasn't enough. Feeling ill at ease for the test, he decided to train again despite having a sore leg. Kudos to EJ for his determination to pursue his dreams with all his might. Prior to the test day, the Islanders sat down to share some of the thoughts running through their mind privately. I practiced so hard to show you everything I can do. I'm not going to leave any regrets. I'm gonna make sure everyone sees my improvement, said EJ. I have a cold, so I'm worried about tomorrow, but I'm also very excited about it. And I do feel pressure because I can't make any mistakes, said Kay. I learned about teamwork. I know what to do for the team, said Hisong. Test day arrives. The Islanders moved flawlessly on stage to I Am Credible. The mentors were all happy to see that Jungwon's part was switched. He did so much better than their expectations. They also had praises for Jay and Jake. The Islanders were given an hour after their performance to vote 3 members off their team. Some trainees kept mulling over their fate of getting voted off. Others, like Hyungmin, pretty much accepted this reality and felt that he will finally get a closure from all the emotional turmoil. At the voting room, each individual score was announced before the trainees cast their votes. Jungwon received a high score of 83, followed by Sunghoon at 81, Jae at 76, Jake at 75, Haesung at 70, EJ at 66, Seon and Youngbin at 65, Chaebom at 63, Kyungmin at 64, K at 61, and Konu lowest at 60. After their votes were complete, the trainees learned the results of who would be eliminated. The three eliminated by their teammates were Youngbin with 11 votes, Kyungmin with 11 votes, and Chaebom with 10 votes. The producers then proceeded to select 3 members to eliminate from the remaining 9 members. Initially, Zico chose EJ, Jake, and Seon. Son Sang-dok chose EJ, Seon, and Konu. Rain, on the other hand, chose Sunghoon, Seon, and EJ. It was clear that EJ and Seon were to be eliminated. All of them agreed that EJ had not shown much improvement and did not know how to express himself. Likewise, everyone felt that Seon did not improve despite being a trainee for 5 years. Tubu also pointed out that there was really nothing eye-catching about Seon at all. After much deliberation, it was agreed that Konu will be eliminated as his potential was mediocre compared to the rest of the team. At this point, we are again confused. Konu can dance well and probably has the best vocal out of them all. So how is he mediocre? In fact, Konu is pretty much similar or better in all ways except that he does not exactly have the typical boy group physical features. Or perhaps the mentors have seen how the public was harsh to Shindong from Super Junior for looking different and didn't want this to affect this big production? Moving along, the trainees eliminated from the island had to leave immediately and head down to the ground, where they shocked the others there. Everyone hugged and comforted each other except Seon. Seon's fears were confirmed as he wasn't welcomed by the grounders. Everyone has a slight lingering resentment towards him and felt that he was manipulative. In fact, many netizens grew their hate for Seon even from episode 1. Honestly, other members could have done the same behind the cameras. But the show was somewhat focusing mainly on the unpleasant action by Seon. We don't know if this was done to increase the show's ratings, but it is really unhealthy to sideline a single person on purpose. Soon after their reunion, the grounders learned that all 16 of them will be performing the final test together. This meant that they had to once again go through all of the parts and divide it into 16 instead of 12. They were given 3 days to practice before the test. The trainees newly voted out the island were just as eager to prove themselves as those in the ground, and they gave it their all to get the good parts. Newly eliminated Konu was chosen as the center for the final ground performance, replacing Hanbin. Many netizens, especially from Southeast Asia, were furious at the change and felt that Hanbin was played dirty. The final distribution for the parts were as follows: Part 1, Konu; Part 2, Jaeho; Part 3, Jimin; Part 4, Sungcheol; Part 5, Nikki; Part 6, Hanbin; Part 7, Seon; Part 8, Chaebom; Part 9, Taki; Part 10, Kyungmin; Part 11, Youngbin; Part 12, Taeyong; Part 13, Nicholas; Part 14, EJ; Part 15, Daniel; and Part 16, Sonu. The trainees in ground can only move on to the second part of the series if they're safe by the global votes. Fans can vote on Weavers for the 6 trainees they want to see stay on island and have the chance to debut. Now, if you were doing your math, you would have noticed that it should have been 17 instead of 16 parts, right? Well, sadly, it was announced that Yoonwon had to leave the competition due to a leg injury that occurred before the series but flared up during practice. For all ARMY fans out there, it was also revealed that BTS will be making a special appearance on ILand on August 14. Save this date on your calendar! What did you think of ILand episode 6? Which trainees will you vote to save? Tell us what you think about the show and leave us your comments below. Like our video? Please remember to subscribe and like down below. Your support means a lot to us and is very much appreciated. Till next time, Seoul Byters! See ya!